Let us start with the tutorial in which we are using the Blender software to create an animation. First, select the default cube and press X to delete it. Now we'll add our own shapes, that is the plane and the sphere. Firstly, I'll add a plane which is here in the mesh. I will click S to resize it. This is just for the 2D view. Now to make it as a plane on which collision occurs, I'll go to the physics properties which is here. In this, I'll add the collision property. That's it for the plane. Now I'll add a new object which will be the ball, that is a UV sphere. We'll resize this in 16 segments and 8 rings. I will click G to move the sphere and press Z to move it along the Z axis. Just giving it a height so that we can see that when the ball drops. I will resize the plane again. Yeah, that is enough. Now I'll click on the sphere, go to the modifier and click on add modifier. I will add the subdivision surface. Now we'll make the render and viewport to 3. I'll go to the object and make it a smooth surface as we are creating a ball. Let us go to the ball physics so as to give it some properties, which is the soft body. I will disable the goal option present here and expand the edges. I will set the bending property to 5. Let us try this animation out. Go in Cache and click on Bake Physics. Let the process complete. Now we can see the animation here. Yes. Let us go back to the initial frame. Let us now set up some light and render settings so that we can give it a good animation feel. Click on the light source and put it in a 3D view. As we can see now, we can view our animation in a 3D format. We'll go to the scene settings and set the render engine to cycle. I'm putting this setting on CPU only, but if any one of you have GPU, you can always go with the second option. Now go into the sampling wherein you will find this render settings. Let us set it to 200. Let us enable the seed option, which will help us to understand the animation clearly. If anyone has a GPU, you can also go into the performance settings and take these default values of 64 for both X and Y axis to 512. In this case, I don't have a GPU, so I'll let it be the default 64 value. Now let us adjust the light settings. We'll go to the light. We'll go to the light setting and click on sun. As you can see, its strength is way too much. So let us reduce the strength to 15. Yes, it takes a bit of time. Now let us click on the sphere and give it some materialistic properties. I've clicked on the sphere, then on the material properties, and I'm clicking on new. Now I'll go into the surface settings and click on use DSDF. Now this white ball doesn't looks as a ball too much alongside the plane, right? Let us click on color settings and make it a more coloristic. I am setting this to red, but it's again up to you according to your own choices. Let us now remove the edges and the graph-like structure that we are seeing, which is the overlays. So click here and now you can see it as an animated object. We have to render this thing, right? So I will click on numpad 0, which will give me a camera view like this. Now let us go here and click on this mini expand button. In it, let us go to view and click on lock camera to view. Now press on this zoom icon and drag it behind so that you can see the whole animation. You can also click on the move icon and move it accordingly so that we can see the whole animation inside the frame. Just be sure that whenever I go here and play the animation throughout, the animation is totally inside the frame. Let us set this back to initial 0th frame. Now we will go to the light settings. Let us go to the light settings, which is here. Now select the show overlays view again so that we can see our light source, which is this one. Click on that, click G to move it. Now just move, I'm just moving it according to the Z axis. So I'll click Z once and I'll move it. You can also rotate it according to your animation style. So this is fine. I'll click Z again and right. let us disable the overlays. So fine, we are finally seeing an animation. Again, finally check the range of motion which is inside the frame, right? So this animation looks complete. Now we'll need to make a video of this. So I'll go here into the scene settings, set the resolution here. If you have GPUs, you can go for the higher resolution, or the rendering will take many hours, like 5 or 6 hours. So if you have a GPU, it is fine to keep it on this resolution, which is 1920 by 180. I will set this to a smaller value, which is 600, or which is 800 by 600 by 400. I'm moving this again just to fit in the animation. Again, check it from the initial frame to the final frame and go back to the initial frame. Now we don't need to select the starting and the ending frame because I want full of animation wherein I want to see it till it stops, till the ball stops. We can select the frame rate here. You can go with the higher frame rate, but then the rendering takes time and the number of frames increase. So I'm going here with a 30 frames per second time. Now I will scroll down here. And most important thing, I will select the file format. The file format will be AVI JPEG, and I'll select a directory wherein we'll store this. So I'm going on desktop and I'll click and I'll put in a name bounce and I'll click on accept. So this animation will now be stored by name bounce, which will be of a file format AVI JPEG. Again, here we can go in with a higher quality. I'm letting this be at a default 90, but in case if you have GPU, you can let it even 100. Now it's time to render the animation to see the result that we have done throughout the course. In the top left corner, select render and click on render animation. It will start doing its job. This will take some time, about, I would say, depending upon the system. In my system, it would be around 2 hours on this resolution. On higher resolution, it goes on to more number of hours, and on a lower resolution, it comes down to a less number of time. With increased GPU settings, you can also set up in higher resolution without any problem. And the final result would be seen, which would be like this.